Hello guys and welcome back yet again. So in this video we're going to be discussing about the Warlock specifically, and the reason why I'm making a dedicated one for Warlock is because I am a Warlock main. I may be a little bit biased because come on, it's Warlock. Warlock is the master class. I refuse to be told otherwise, and it's a very interesting class. So we're gonna go through all of these weird things that you can do with the builds when it comes to Warlock. So I'm not going to go very deep into what each particular set will do, like Calvary or Chariot, because I've already covered that in the previous video. So if you haven't watched that, you can go watch that first, understand what all the raid sets do, and then come back here. And then now we're going to go more in depth in a class by class basis. I'll probably do this for all the classes I kind of know something about, not all classes. I don't play all classes. So yeah, so the first one is just Warlock. So for Warlock, you have 4 ways of building your Warlock, okay? Some will be better, some will be worse, but I'm going to outline each. We're going to discuss each one, and then I'm going to tell you the pros and cons of each and my own personal preference on what I will be going at the end. So when it comes to building your Warlock, you have 4 ways you can build your Warlock, okay? The first way to build it is you want to do your entire 5 class set. So just do full 5 destiny set and you're done with it. It's probably the weakest one, the way it is, like that. Then the second build utilizes Chariot, so you're gonna go 3-piece Chariot and then keep your two class set effect for the extra elemental damage. And then the third one is you wanna go for Calvary, so 3-piece Calvary, and then still keep your 2 class set effect active. Then we have the fourth one. The fourth one is if you really don't want your class set effect, the 2-piece, you can go either Calvary or Chariot, and then you are going to be using any of the 2 hex pieces of the remaining 2 pieces you haven't gotten. And then for the last build, it's going to be, you're going to keep your entire full class set and then use 2 hex chest pieces. So it will be 2-piece, a mixture of Chariot and Calvary, and also 3 pieces of your destiny to keep your entire class set, and then have 2 really good pieces of your Chariot, of 1 Chariot and Calvary. We'll talk about each of these builds in detail. So these here are the different ways you can build the Warlock. I'm going to go into detail about each, and then we can probably make a small consensus on what is the best way to go. I'm going to give you guys my own personal preference on how I'll be building mine. There's a lot of factors that come into deciding what you want to get, and I'm going to be mentioning those, okay? So for the first one, the destiny set is just what everyone has at the moment, so no, nothing major about that one. We are done with that one. So let's quickly go into Calvary set. So let's start with the Calvary build. When it comes to the Calvary build, you're going to be running especially the helmet, which is a no-brainer, really good piece, really good piece. The passive there gives the cooldown reduction effect with high frequency damage. I'm going to explain that in a little bit when we talk about the set effect. Then let's start talking about the other pieces. So when it comes to breastplate, this is not a very easy breastplate to work with, just because you need to hit 100 combo to upkeep 12% damage bonus. So 100 combo for Warlock isn't that easy to keep at all times. So let's do a whole rotation and see whole skill, everything. Like I've done everything and I'm not even at 100 yet. Just do my finisher. That's when I hit 100. So it's a slower build up. Some classes do this 100 combo in 3 or 4 seconds. As we do your entire rotation to hit that kind of a combo. So it is not a very easy piece to upkeep. So I want you guys to keep that in mind, because we are doing a lot of discussion. We're gonna do a lot of discussion about this. So you see how it's really slow to get 100 combo. For this piece to work like really well, you need to be able to get a high combo count extremely fast. The moment you lose the combo, maybe the boss is phasing and stuff, you need to build it up to 100 again to take advantage of the entire 12% damage bonus. Keep that in mind when it comes to the breastplate. Let's go to the gloves. The gloves is also not really good for Warlock because you need to be at range to get that 10% damage. So this is like for gunners and stuff. Warlock, you are going to be melee. Your basic attacks are melee, things like that. So this doesn't really work. Gloves is probably something not really going to build when you're going for Calvary on Warlock. And then let's go to pants. Pants is doable. Pants is actually pretty good. Pants means, so every time you are airborne, you just do 10% more damage on all the skills. This is actually good on Warlock, just because it's not like you have to be airborne for the entire fight. You can always jump, do your rotation there, right? When you land, just jump and then do another skill. Like, you don't have to be like always up there like a Mistrix, okay? And even if you basic attack, you are not on the ground. As you see, you're not on the ground, you're still airborne, right? Even when you're basic attacking, even if the target is a little low, you're still on. So when you land and your feet touch the ground, that's when you're not getting the bonus. So keep that in mind. So it is not a bad piece, but you will be forced to do some airborne skills. The reason why I'm mentioning that is you're going to see that you don't really have that many options when it comes to Calvary as a Warlock. And then for shoes is a very good piece. The boots of the Calvary, it's very easy to get around 11 or 12% damage bonus just by doing nothing. Just cast your skills, you're gonna get this damage buff. So with that being said, for Calvary, the best pieces for you will be your boots, your helmet, and then you're going to have to choose between breastplate, right? Breastplate and pants. I'm just gonna say go for pants and just do the airborne skills. However, if you feel like you can upkeep 100 combo 100% of the time, or like a very high upkeep on this 100% combo, 100 combos, I mean not 100%, 100 combos all the time, then you can go breastplate. Gloves is not a really good piece at all for you if you're gonna build Calvary. Let's explain the main thing about Calvary, which is the high frequency damage. Now this is where a lot of people don't think about a lot. Warlock is not a high frequency class. High frequency just means you need to do a lot of damage very quickly. So the easiest way to test this, I'm going to show you, and I'm going to show you with a different class as well, so that you can see the difference between a high frequency class and a class that is not high frequency. So let's do our ball skill here. So let's do our ball skill and then just look at your combo count. So the ball will do around 23 hits. Oops, sorry, I almost left the, look at the timer on the top. The timer will start at 50. So when the skill ends, you see it ends at what second. So do the skill, let's watch it. So that's 48, 47, 46. So that's 4 seconds. So in 4 seconds, we did 23 hits. So you see, you can divide that by 4 and you will see how many hits you did each second. So around 5 hits per second. And then that will stack up your high frequency damage. You guys are understanding how the high frequency will work. Let's do something like Chaos Tide. Chaos Tide looks like high frequency, but actually it isn't. See, just 7 hits. 7 hits for, I think it's 1 second if I'm not wrong. It's just a 1 second cast time. Yeah, 49. So 1 second, 7 hits. So that's like, that will stack it up to like three high frequency hits. And then Hand of Calamity, 4 hits for like in 1 second. So it's like 1 stack, 2 stacks. And then KO hits like 17 times, but it is slow. So it's like 17 times, but count the seconds. So 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. So around 5 seconds for 18 hits. So that's like 3 stacks of high frequency damage. You want to be proccing high frequency damage a lot, and you have it has like a small cooldown on it. Where is it? Where is this set? I'll show you. So the set effect, this penalty of oath, will be proccing every 0.4 seconds, right? So it has a small cooldown into it. So every 0.4 seconds it will be proccing. Now for you guys to really understand how big of a deal this is, I want to show you one different class here, so that you can actually tell the difference on why I'm saying Warlock is not really a high frequency class. So let's hop onto our Mistrix here, and I want you to look how crazy a high frequency class will look like. So I'm just gonna do one skill. So on Warlock, we were hitting like, each skill was hitting like 17 combo, like the highest we were getting like 17 combo, and the rest is like 12 or something like that. So for Mistrix, I'm just gonna do one skill. Look at that. That is 32 combo. That is one skill. I've not done anything else. I'm gonna do the next skill, which is the motorcycle skill. Normally you don't want to cast it, but I'm just gonna cast it normally without cancelling it. So it will look like this. So see, you walk around, right? Look at the combo count. That's 103, and that is one skill. One skill, right? And look, let's look at the timer as well up there. So we start at 3 minutes. So let me cancel it. So you can jump and press it to cancel it. So jump and then see. So it's 4 seconds and we got 74 combo. 4 seconds, 74 combo. Let's look at the other gather skill. Let me swap it here. The other my motorcycle skill. A really quick one. I think it's 1 or 2 seconds. So boom. 30 combo, 29 combo on that. Let's go to this one. See the combo count? 56 on that. This is why this is a high frequency class. It really works super well with Calvary. So combine these skills and you will realize how Mistrix is doing like a lot of combo really quickly, and it's stacking that 100 combo that you need for the breastplate of Calvary. Warlock does not have that. Warlock does not have that. So what's the difference between a high frequency class and a non-high frequency class? So I really hope that has showed you like a difference of what a high frequency class will look like. So with that small showcase there, it does not really mean that the Warlock won't work with Calvary. Actually, no. Because the good thing about Calvary set, the extra additional damage that you're proccing down here does have a cooldown. It does have an internal cooldown. So it's not like you're proccing it every time you're hitting any high frequency damage. So it has a cooldown. So this makes this set kind of usable on Warlock. It is very usable. So yeah, that's how Calvary will work with Warlock. It's a very easy build. Just put the Calvary sets in there. Just do your damage, okay? There is a caveat at the end, so stay tuned, stay tuned. Another good thing about the Calvary build is you'll be getting a lot of elemental enhancement on each piece, so that's an added advantage. And yeah, you're going to be getting these cooldown reductions here. So this one works like a mini pet, and Warlock does really well with cooldowns. So yeah, you can make a case that this is probably a better option for you. But we are not done. We are not done. Let's compare it to Chariot. Let's talk about Chariot. Now for Chariot, it's very easy to determine which pieces to go for Chariot. And the first one is the helmet of the Mighty Chariot. It's just a really good piece. So helmet of the Mighty Chariot. And then the second piece is going to be your gloves. The gloves will be giving you like crit chance, but the activation is from the pet skill, and the stats you get are actually pretty good. The resonance recharge is actually pretty good, and crit damage, crit rate, some cooldown reduction. And then for the third piece, you can do breastplate or pants. This will depend on you. It is highly dependent on how you want to activate this set effect. So if you want to go for pants, it just means you want an easier activation. So when you get your pants, anytime you do any skill, it's going to give you the buff. So it basically makes the set much easier to play. If you go for breastplate, you will have to activate it with the resonance skill. So you'll have to be able to charge your resonance skill. Going with the gloves does give you a resonance recharge as a start here, so plus 4%. So it makes getting resonance a little easier. Yeah, that is just it. Breastplate and the pants have the exact same stats. You see, crit, base HP, damage res, and pants, it is the exact same. Crit, damage HP, damage res. They are the exact same pieces. The only difference is how you're going to be activating the piece itself, so that you can get the set effect down here. I've already explained this in the previous video, so if you don't know, I don't want to go about this. I'm going to make the video way too long for no reason. You guys already know how the Chariot set work when you have watched the previous video. Now, before we even start, I'm going to say I'm not a very big fan of Chariot, and I'm going to explain why. Now, Chariot, there's a reason why I have a 50-second timer on the top here, and normally the Chariot will do really well if you have a lot of cooldown. So if your rotation will be around 40 seconds, okay, then the Chariot is really good set. Another thing with Chariot, it is going to force you to use your level 1 finisher is going to cause it's going to force you to be using a level 1 finisher. The level 60 awakening and the level 45 awakening have a high cooldown to a point you're not going to be using it all the time to activate the set effect. So you are kind of forced into your level 1 finisher. That is the first thing about Chariot. Once you have your 3-piece Chariot, I'm going to assume you are going for helmet, breastplate, and your gloves. You're going to be activating the set effect by starting with your resonance scale, right? Your V or Q, depending on your hotkey. So resonance scale, you start with this one because this one will buff everything that you're going to do after, and then you're going to do your pet scale. Okay, it depends with what pet you have. For me, it's a crit one, so I want the crit one and the crit damage and stuff like that. And then I'm going to do my finisher. So this will be 3 buffs. Okay, resonance buff, pet buff, and then the finisher buff. So once I get all the 3 buffs, my Chariot set is up and running. This will take literally less than a second to do. The moment you do your resonance buff, you are not going to, even the timer hasn't like kind of started yet. So this is just the buff, and then do your pet skill, and then do your finisher, and you are ready to pump. The timer will look like this. We are starting at 40 seconds. Once we do the 3 activations, it is going to start counting down, and you have 15 seconds to do every single skill. That is your burst window in 15 seconds. After 15 seconds, so when we hit 25, right? When we hit 25 on the timer here, it means we have run out of the Chariot buff, and now we are doing just our normal fillers. And then when the timer hits 0, it means we can do our rotation again, because now the Chariot set effect has resetted. That is this. So 24 seconds, and then now we can do it all over again. So you have 15 seconds plus 24 seconds. That's a total of 39 seconds. So it's a total of 40 seconds. So that's why I have the timer there. So before I explain why this set can be good for you or not good for you, let's do this rotation, assuming I do have the Chariot set and how it is going to work. So the activation will look like this. So resonance into pet skill into finisher, and then we're going to do our whole rotation with also our transformation, right? So it will be, so with a 50-second timer, it's much easier to explain this. So watch this. I'm going to do it like really fast because I want to just show you the cooldown at the end. So resonance, pet, finisher, and then I'm going to snap immediately after, and then stack 5, and then I'm going to ulti, and then I'm going to snap, stack another 5, and then I'm going to ulti again, and then sticks here, and I'm going to snap. When we hit 35, we are now on the cooldown period. This is now the cooldown period of the Chariot set. Here I'm just doing finisher damage. When we hit around 11 seconds, this is when we can do our rotation again all over. So this is all cooldown period. So I'm just doing rotation. 4, 3, 2, 1. You see there? I can't do Chariot, but you see I'm still on cooldown. My Styxian is still on cooldown. See? Now this is active. Do you guys see how it is? It's a little mismatched. It's a little mismatched. Now the reason why this is a little bit mismatched is because I don't have enough cooldown reduction, and this is my cooldown reduction at the moment. Where is it? I am at 244. I'm at 244 cooldown reduction, and it's still not lining up in the 40-second window of Chariot. So let's explain this in let's make like a timeline here. Let's make like a timeline here. So this is your damage rotation timeline, okay? This is the start and this is the end, right? This is where you're going to be getting your Chariot set effect, right? Your Chariot set effect. If that's where you're going to be getting your Chariot set effect, it's going to last for 15 seconds. So let's say that is 15 seconds, okay? So this is a 15-second window here. You want to do your entire burst rotation right there. Then you're going to have a cooldown. A cooldown will be around 24 seconds. So let's say it's there. This is a downtime of 24 seconds. So the thing is this, you can't fit all your damage here. Like your entire rotation can easily fit in 15 seconds. Easily. That is not the issue. The issue is when you come to your cooldown phase, The most optimal way is when you are nearing the end of your cooldown phase, you want your cooldowns to be up. Like you want them to be completely ready so that you can go back to your at the start, right? And then redo your entire combo all over again. That is the idea behind the set. Now the problem is, now if you don't have enough cooldown reduction at this point, you will be stuck in this area where you cannot start your buffs again until you have all your cooldowns up. Because God forbid you activate your chariot set all afresh and you have your big hitting skills on cooldown to a point where when you're actually using it, you have run out of this buff. So this is the reason you'll hear people saying, for this chariot set to work best way for a warlock, you're going to need to have the cut pet. So the cut pet will be reducing your cooldowns a lot. And to drive this point home even more, I want you to keep in mind the rotation that we just did on the 52nd, and we still had cooldown on the big hitting skill. This happened with my class set effect active, because I did reduce my cooldown by 10 seconds. If I didn't have this set effect, in fact, you know what, I'm going to unequip 2 pieces. The moment you equip Chariot, you're gonna lose these 4 pieces. So this reduction won't happen. So let's do the exact same rotation without the 5 pieces to show you how long this will be. Resonance, pet, finisher, and then do your burst combo, and then we will watch when the timer hits 11 seconds where our cooldowns will be. So V, pet, finisher, detonate, stack 5, ulti, detonate, stack 5, ulti, Styxian, detonate. Okay, now we are done at 35. We no longer have the chariot buff at this point. Now we are just doing our filler damage here. We're going to wait until we hit 11 seconds. Now keep in mind, I've not gotten the 10-second cooldown reduction from the 5-piece side effect. At 11, there. You see, even my chaos tide is still on cooldown. And look, I still have way higher cooldown. Where then it comes at around 50 seconds. My skills still mismatch a little bit, mismatch. Now this entire problem is fixable by getting cooldown rate. Okay, it's fixable by getting cooldown rate. If you get enough CDR, then that problem goes away and Chariot becomes good for you. So don't build Chariot set if you don't have enough cooldown. If you have the cut pet, the mystic cut, the big top up pet, then Chariot is super good for you because it will always align almost perfectly. So that is the idea behind Chariot. So don't build Chariot. Chariot is actually not a free-to-play set. I'm just gonna say it right up. If you are free-to-play and you wanna go for a hex chest set, go for Calvary, not Chariot. Chariot won't align really. It's actually gonna feel really bad. Another thing to note is if you go for Calvary or Chariot, you are going to be losing your 4-piece set effect and 5-piece set effect, which we're going to be talking about later, and it's a very, very important topic. I did mention the other way of building is if you have like 3 pieces of Chariot and you don't need the class piece, you can look for like an individual piece. For example, you can go for the Calvary boots. Even if you're going for full Chariot, like 3-piece Chariot, you can still go for Calvary boots for like the extra damage here. However, the class set effect, the 2-piece is pretty good, so it's not worth giving up 12% umbro damage. It's not really worth it. Just keep the 2-piece set effect. It is a pretty good 2-piece. Now let's go to the third main build, and this is the one I'll be going for personally, and I'm going to be explaining to you guys why I'll be doing this. The best build I believe for Warlock, will be 3-piece Destiny and 2 random hex chest pieces. Okay, not random, 2 hex chest pieces specifically. Now the build will be this. You wanna go for Helmet of the Mighty Chariot for your helmet, right, as your red piece, and you wanna go for Boots of the Calvary as your boots hex, right? And then the rest of the pieces, pants, gloves, and breastplate, is going to be the Destiny level to level 60 epic 2. I know a lot of people are like, what? But now give me a chance to explain why and why I'm thinking this is probably the best way to build a Warlock. Now, I've already talked about the disadvantages of Calvary, okay, and then the disadvantages of Chariot. But there's one major thing people are not really looking forward to, and this is the moment you build your raid set, the 3-piece, you're automatically going to be losing the 4-piece set effect and the 5-piece set effect. If you're free to play, the 4-piece set effect is super important for your rotation. Like super important. This dim shadow buff is really good. Really good. Okay? The 5-piece set effect is super good. It just gives you more damage on your demon mark burst. It's just a really good damage buff. So a lot of people don't know what the 4-piece set effect does. So I'm going to show you that really quickly. So the 4-piece set effect for the class, because a lot of people don't really know what it does, is every time you ulti, every time you do your ult, you're going to be getting these stacks here, right? It's every second for 10 seconds, and it's going to max out at 10, right? When you have this 10, you'll be getting 30 Umbra Enhance, and this buff will last for 30 seconds straight. And then there's a second level to it. That is the first one. Game 1, Shadow Stack per second, giving you the Umbra Enhance. And then the second part of it, when you max out the stats and you get 10 stacks, Casting an Awakening skill reduces all active skill cooldowns by 10 seconds. All active skill cooldowns. So this is what this will look like and why it is super good for your rotation. For me to show you this one like really well, to understand what this is, I'm going to remove, let me remove these ones here from the bar so that we can just see the cooldown straight up. Let's remove these ones. So what this passive will do, when you do your Awakening, it's gonna start getting the stacks. You see the stacks? So when it hits 10 stacks, any damage you do with your Awakening is going to reduce all cooldowns that you have by 10 seconds. Okay. So let's start stacking them up. And then I'm going to do just the normal rotation. Not real rotation. Just put them all off on cooldown. You see, they're all on cooldown. 30 seconds, 20 seconds. I have 10 stacks. Now, if I damage with this, boom. You see how they all jump like this? See the white circle, they jump because they are already been reduced by 10 seconds. That is how that passive works. And if you incorporate it in your rotation, you can do some crazy resets with it. Now, when you go Chariot or Calvary, you're gonna lose this passive. You're going to lose this passive. And this passive is just like God sent for a free to play, to be honest. Okay? That is the first thing. The second thing you're gonna lose is 9% damage on your Demon Mark. Demon Mark is probably one of your hardest hitting skills, and it's on a very low cooldown. It's on an 8-second cooldown. Demon Mark is on an 8-second cooldown. This can go lower with more cooldown reduction you start getting, and it's resettable with like other skills, your ultimate and stuff like that. So I really like the mark, like building around the mark. So for me, this is a very good set to use as a class set. It works really well. Now, the third thing a lot of people are not really thinking about is you want to future-proof your set a little bit. So let's look at our accessory set. Now, accessory set, you get your buff for Awakening skills. So your 3-piece set effect is for 25 seconds after casting an Awakening. Each skill cast will increase skill damage by 3% up to 12%, right? After casting an Awakening skill. When you go Chariot, you automatically lose 1 Awakening skill. Automatically, because you cannot use Catastrophe with Chariot. You are kind of forced to go Obliteration to activate the Chariot pieces, right? Unless you go for a different piece, but you really want the helmet, right? So you are forced with this one. Meaning you will kind of lose a half activation of using your second Awakening to get this buff a half 50% of the time, right? So now you'll have like only when you're doing a transformation, that's when you're gonna get this buff. When you don't have, when you're using Calvary, it's not that bad because you can still do the level 60 Awakening and the level 45 Awakening, so you can have both Awakenings to activate this set effect twice. Now the big one is this: we are going to be getting the remaining pieces very soon, maybe in a month or two, I don't know, but pretty soon. And the 5-piece effect forces you as a Warlock to use your level 60 finisher. And this is why I want you to read very closely the accessories. So on your 5-piece set effect, you're going to be getting skill damage, which is good, but look at this. Calamity Form, after casting Forbidden Dark Flame Catastrophe. So Dark Flame Catastrophe is your level 60 finisher, right? Level 60 finisher. Let's go back there. When you cast your level 60 finisher, you're going to transform into Apostle. So what this means, when we get our 5-piece set effect on the accessories, when you cast the level 60 finisher, right, and you immediately cast it, it is going to automatically transform you into this state. And you guys know this state is kind of broken, right? You're going to be automatically transformed into this. If you are using Chariot, right? If you're using Chariot, you cannot use the level 60 finisher because you need the level 1 finisher. Are you seeing my reasoning here? Let's continue reading this. The duration can stack with the other Forbidden Dark Knight Apostle. So Dark Knight Apostle is the level 45 awakening. And then you can combine the two, and then you're going to have a total of 30 seconds of transformed combat state, which is like super good. This set effect is super good. Now, just because of this set effect, it kind of makes you going Chariot not really a very ideal, because you're going to be losing basically the entire set effect, or you'll have to swap out your, or if you're gonna go Chariot, do not build the helmet. Do not build the helmet, because this in the near future, this activation where you have to use a finisher, you cannot use the level 1 finisher anymore. You will have to only use it with your awakening skills. So keep that. A lot of people, I've not had anyone mention this part, but yeah, this is the idea. So this brings me back into the Chariot explanation. You want to build Chariot if you have enough CDR for it. So if you have the cart, it's a good build. But if you still want to build Chariot, keep in mind you might have to change it in future when we get the accessory set, because now you are forced to use a level 1 finisher, or leave the helmet and build something else. But leaving the helmet is leaving a lot of damage outside. So this is why I was saying Warlock is a little confusing, a little complicated to build. So let's end this video by me saying what I'm gonna be doing. Okay, now for my build, I'm just going to be building Helmet of the Mighty Chariot, and then my shoes will be Boots of the Calvary, and that is it. I am not going to be building a raid set at the moment. It's just going to be like that. I am a free-to-play, and I'm going to be getting my damage boost like that. I may be wrong, but I do believe the math checks out. This class set effect is extremely strong. It's extremely strong. So I'm just going to be utilizing the damage boosts from the 2 pieces, and I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to do Chariot just because I don't have enough CDR, and my cooldowns aren't really lining up really well, and it feels really bad to play without the 4-piece set effect. But if you want to do the Chariot for the burst playstyle, you can do it. It's not really a bad build. It's actually a really good build, but you're going to need a lot of CDR to make it work correctly. If you don't want to do that crazy CDR stuff, then Calvary is the next best thing. This is a very personal preference. It's not the gospel, but I would say the class set effect with the Boots of Calvary and the Helmet of Chariot is the best option. The second one will be Calvary, and then Chariot will be the last one, just because Chariot is heavily dependent on your cooldown rate. And if you have the cat pet, Chariot is super good for you. And then just know in the future when we get our accessory set, you will have to swap out from your Chariot helmet and choose another way of activating your set, because you cannot really use the level 1 finisher anymore. Because if you don't use your level 60 awakening, you are kind of losing out on the whole transformation 30-second transformation that is going to be we are going to be getting on our 5-piece. So yeah, that's it. I will be going class set with the 2 pieces, very cheap build, really good for free to play, and I'll be doing pretty good damage. That is where I have decided to go. That is my own personal opinion. If someone asks me what to do, I'm gonna say that. I'm actually very confident about it, but the other 2 builds aren't that bad. I think I've said the condition that is needed for those 2 builds to work. So I don't know if this has helped anyone. I really hope it has. And yeah, if I'm gonna make some for different other classes, it's not gonna be long like this one. Warlock is just complicated for no reason. So thanks guys for watching, and I guess I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.